Hey, this is Reginald Perryman, regisrealestate.com. So today I'm going to analyze a property that I received from a wholesaler to see if it is a good fix and flip. So let's just take a look at the numbers I received in my email here. So if you look here, actually I received this email earlier today. So you can see here, this is a Bagley area. I'm already fixing the property and flipping the property actually in Bagley. So I know that neighborhood quite well. So this is a 3-bedroom, 2-bath, just over 1,600 square feet. So here they're telling me that the ARV is approximately 180,000. This is what I like when wholesalers do this. They actually send you some comparables, but what I really like to see is how they justified their value. So the wholesaler is asking, here you can see at the bottom, they are asking 77,900. So what we have to figure out is how much work is going to be needed and if this ARV is accurate or close to accurate. Now they're telling me the ARV is 180, but what they're showing me is that their comps, none of their comps are supporting 180 as the ARV. So here is somewhat of a red flag, but I don't know if these homes are actually repaired or not. So why did they send me comps for properties that are below what their estimated ARV is? So let's just take a look. This is the Bagley area close to the property that they suggested. So the first thing I want to do is I'm going to walk you through the process. So for right now, I'm just going to look at properties that are maybe 1,250 square feet to maybe 1,950, right? I'm going to start there. That's sold within a year of the subject property in this neighborhood. So, which is not bad. So here's a 4-bedroom here. Let me move my screen. A 4-bedroom that's sold for $215. Another 4-bedroom that's sold for $175. But this subject property is a 3-bedroom. But these are the highest comps here, and I believe a few of these might actually be on their report. There's Griggs for one. Yeah, so they have Griggs on here. One. So they have some decent comps, but they did miss out on these comparables here. We would just have to adjust for bedroom. So as of right now, I am not seeing anything that supports the 180. But let me go here because I only went a quarter of a mile out. Let me go a half mile. Changes everything. So let me do this because right now my count went from... So originally when I went a quarter mile, if you can see down here in this section, it's 11 homes. But if I go a half mile out, which would still cover the Bagley area and similar areas, but it would cross over into another neighborhood. So what I'm going to want to do here is I only want properties that sold above 100,000 because I don't want any of the lower end distress sales that were 30 and 40,000, and I'm just going to go up to 250. That still narrows it down to 36 properties. So the next step is to map this out. So let me delete this map. Now I'm going to add my own space. So just for the purpose of this, I'm just going to stay within this area here for my subject. Now I'm going to look at the results. Okay, so now I'm looking at properties that all have sold in the past year. My highest is 225, and here's one 1,600 square feet for 225, 3-bedroom, 1.5. Remember, our subject is 1,600 square feet, 3-bedroom, 2-bath. So looks like they sent some conservative comps. So now what we have to do is start looking at let's do this. Let's go back, and I'm only going to put in 3 bedrooms. Let's narrow that down. And let's go back. Now here's where we really fine tune our comps, because appraisers are typically only going to go back 6 months. So let's go here. So now you can see they're all over the place from 100,000 up to 225. So we have a basis here to support the 180 ARV that they recommended. Again, I don't know why they sent these comps, but maybe they're just being conservative, or maybe these were the as-is comps to justify why the 77 was such a good deal here. So here we are, we're looking at some properties. Now what we're going to do here is look at, so most of these are colonials, brick colonials, with the exception of this one bungalow, which is probably going to be our closest comp. 1,400 square feet, 3 bed, 1 bath. So it's down a bath, but it's similar. And keep in mind, here in Detroit, the difference between bungalows and colonials actually matter when you're as far as buyers are concerned. So investors are looking like, what's the big difference? The square footage, it is what it is. But the home buyers, some really prefer a colonial 2-story with all the bedrooms upstairs versus what we consider a 1.5-story bungalow where you have 2 bedrooms down and a master bedroom on the 2nd level. So that would be considered a bungalow style. And then a ranch style here in our local market would be where all the bedrooms are on the 1st floor, basically your 1-story home. And as you can see, most of these are colonials because that's what was built in the area. So this Prairie property here at 126. So you can get in a lot of trouble just looking here and just assuming that you can get 180 for this property without really doing some research and knowing the market. So let's just take a look here. Again, most of these were colonials, and there's a huge difference between the style of some of these properties when you look at these. So you'll see most of these are colonials, even at the lower price. So now what we have to do is identify. Let's take this property here and let's look at some of the photos. Don't get dizzy. Put your speed on slow-mo mode as I go through these. So you can see this was completely updated, freshly painted. This was probably a fix and flip. I almost guarantee you that this was a fix and flip. This is not what an average homeowner would do just to sell their property after they vacated. So this was more or less a fix and flip. This one sold for $164,900. Okay, which is kind of scary in regards to that 180. Now let's look at the subject property photos here. So if we can look at the subject property here, you're going to see a couple things. So of course the kitchen needs to be updated. This is the dining area, kitchenette area. So it's just showing you that the kitchen is outdated. So we have to factor in the cost of the kitchen. I like that this wholesaler did a great job of showing us the details. So of course we have to refinish the floors. So this is a home where the home is actually livable, meaning that someone can live in this home and occupy it, which is great because when you go in, you don't have to demo the walls and things of that nature. For this bathroom, one thing that you have to consider is, do you completely gut this bathroom and redo the tile and everything? Because remember, what we're competing against is this property here. I'll leave this up. So how do we make the subject property's bathroom look like this? Now, I don't know if you can see it here, but this is the original tile in this home. Looks like they glazed the tub. The only thing they probably did was change the toilet and the vanity and the sink and the lighting. Newer windows, of course, they painted. The biggest change was the sink, toilet, and the floor, right? Because this was just reglazed white. The wall tile and the tub was reglazed. That's not a new tub. So, can you do the same here? Can you actually keep this sink and toilet, lay new floor tile, reglaze the walls, paint, remove this wallpaper, put in new lighting, and reglaze the tub? It is a possibility. Great job by the wholesaler for putting in detailed photos. So here's what most wholesalers don't do. So they're showing the toilet. Yeah, this will probably have to be replaced. Showing the minor details. Okay, yes, you're going to have to paint. We knew that, but why do we need to paint? With the exception of the color, right? The tub, of course, it needs to be reglazed. So great job here by showing the details, because the buyer that buys this property after seeing the photos, you pretty much already know what you're getting yourself into. Here's the upstairs, unfinished. Now, here's where it matters, because you can actually finish this off to like a master suite or another bedroom, right? So this would be a great addition, and it won't cost you much. The return on investment would be great. The basement doesn't look completely finished. You got some center block walls, a little bit of moisture. Looks like it's got some moisture there, so you want to get that checked out. Some old paneling. So now keep in mind, one of our most comparable properties, if you look at their basement, walls, floors painted, the walls are painted, and it's not finished at all. So when we go back to the subject, maybe you want to just take the paneling out and just paint it. You know, it has a toilet down there, which would be considered a half bath. So yeah, it has a toilet and a sink. Replace that and you're good to go. So it's not a lot really, and they have a sump pump there, which is good. Did a great job of showing good photos, showing me, hey, this is an older furnace, I'm gonna have to replace it. Yes, there's AC there. So now, okay, great looking property from the exterior. This is a bungalow, but it is a corner home, which to some buyers don't like corner properties for a number of reasons, not the preferred property, but it can still sell. Someone always buys corner homes, so some people don't like to have neighbors. But overall, this is a great deal in a great area. The issue is, how much is it going to cost to renovate this property? So another great job. So here they actually show what are the exterior repairs needed, because this could cost you not only in money but in time. Here we are, this is the end of October going into November. If you don't get this exterior work done right now, we're above 50 degrees. Next week, you can almost call it a wrap for doing some of these exterior repairs in order to flip the property, including your exterior painting. Roof doesn't look too bad. Now, I would want to see this in person, because it looks like it just has some nail pops. But if you're going to flip this property, especially if you're going to sell it to an owner-occupant buyer, they're going to want to see that the roof has at least a 3 to 5 year life expectancy. Windows are old. You may have to add that to your budget. I have painted these windows where it's wood, just repaint it. As long as the windows are in good shape and the storms are in good shape. So you probably can or can't see this on the video, but behind these storms are just basic wood windows. If they're working fine, you got good storms, you don't have to replace them. Trying to get windows installed could set you back 6 to 8 weeks if you're calling a window company, sometimes longer during this time of the year. If you have a GC that's doing your construction, maybe they have subs that can get these done, popped in and out within a week. Depending on if they have to order the windows or if these are more like standard fit where they can just go to a local window supplier or maybe like your Home Depot type windows or something like that. Great job showing all the rotted wood that will have to be repaired and replaced, any tuck pointing and things of that nature. Very important, after October, you have to try to rush to get all your exterior repairs done first. If the home needs a roof, that should be the very first thing you do in a property, regardless. But all of these exterior repairs matter because of timing. If you get stuck in a situation where you can't complete these repairs and you have to hold the property until the weather breaks again just because you can't paint or do exterior work, that's going to be a problem. It's going to increase your holding costs. Now, the reality of it is some lenders that, let's say a buyer's getting an FHA loan, this has peeling paint. Some lenders will allow a setback, an escrow amount to be held. So let's say it costs you $2,000 for your exterior repairs, peeling paint, etc. The lender will say, we're going to hold $3,000 in escrow. Once March comes or the weather allows you to complete these type of repairs, once the repairs are completed, we will release the $3,000 back to the seller. And you know, some repairs can still be done in colder weather, but the quality of workmanship may not be the same and the repairs may not last. So that's simply a buyer-seller decision at that point in time. Can you paint when it's 40 degrees outside on the exterior? Yes, but if it's 40 degrees and it's raining every other day and it just rained the day before, you're painting today and tomorrow is going to rain again, probably not the best idea to paint this section here. But if you need to do it just to get it closed and the buyer's fine with it, fine. So great property, great potential. The numbers are spot on. Again, this is going to boil down to, you may have to replace the AC there. There's some other minor repairs, but don't want to go too far into it. You got a lot of, all of these little things add up. I tell a lot of investors that's looking to fix and flip, you have to pay attention. So in business, I don't like to major in the minors, like Jim Rohn said, but I do like to pay attention to the minor details, especially when it comes to a fix and flip. All of these small things can take you out of budget. They can equal up to $4,000, $5,000 easily. So you go into this property, you gut the kitchen, you redo the bathroom, you put on a new roof, and all of a sudden you got all of these little small nuances. Now here's the doozy right here. This is obvious this roof has to be replaced on this garage. You're looking at maybe $3,000 to tear off and redo this roof, $3,500 or so, depending on if there's any rotted wood or fascia's damage. The gutter looks like it needs to be replaced, so that's gonna probably put you up to close to about $3,500 or so, depending on the contractor. If you're calling a big box company, you're gonna spend $4,500 to $5,000 on this roof. But a local GC contractor can probably get you this, or a roofer probably can get this done for $2,500. You know, it just depends on who you call, quality of work you're looking for. But all of this, you're going to have to replace these gutters or paint them. They're probably not in good shape, so you're probably just going to have to replace them. But again, good job by the wholesaler. Cut all of this away. This is what killed your roof in the back. You're getting moisture here, which is going to, when you have vegetation on the side of brick, and especially here in Michigan where you get the extreme hot, extreme cold, this gets wet right now. it's 45, 50 degrees. This get wet. At night it's going to drop, probably freeze a little bit. Then it's going to thaw, freeze and thaw overnight. The moisture gets there. There's no sun drying out the water, and it's going to mess up your brick and the mortar in between. So you're going to end up having a tuck point, and it's probably going to start shifting. But overall, great job by a wholesaler. So 77,000. Potential upside of, they're saying over 180, which was true based on all the comparables, because we have up to 212. But when we look at the most comparable property to this property, I am looking at this property at 164, right? So what's my suggestion? I don't have a suggestion. This would be up to the investor. But I'll always tell people, don't just factor in your acquisition costs, renovation costs, and then your profit. You also have to factor in things like capital gains. So let's say you're 77, with closing costs, everything. Let's say you're 81,000 in. Let's say you're going to go in and do this property for, I don't know, 45,000. Let's say you're 125 all in, and we're not even looking at the 180, right? Maybe you'll get lucky and price it right and start a bidding war, and the buyers bid it up to that. But here, this is where you're looking at, they said 170 to 180 here. So again, my most comparable property sold, and this was actually just almost 30 days ago. This one sold for 164. So if I'm 125 all in, I got 164. Let's do the numbers. And this is where it gets real. I'm just gonna say, Kentucky, I'm just gonna say, I think that was 1860. Okay, so let's just say you did 165, right? Your home is gonna look better than that other property. So you got your commission, which is 6%. Calculate. So at 165, all of your fees, your estimated title insurance, doc prep fees, closing fees, and everything. Now you're looking at 152 after commissions and everything. So what did I say? You're at 152 minus your 125, all in. That's assuming that you did, 40 something thousand, 45,000 in repairs. So let's do the numbers here. So let's look. You got 77.9 for acquisition, plus let's say you got another 2,000, and this doesn't include if you're oh boy, 79. This doesn't include if you're doing like hard money lending and what your lender may charge you. So let's just estimate this to 80,000, right? Let's say you got 40,000 all in. Now let's be fair. Let's say you're at 80, and let's say 40,000, because you're gonna have some minor. So you got 120, right? 120. So you got 152. So we got 152, 1, 2, 3. That would be great. And you got 120. I know the numbers, just want to show it to you on the screen. You got a $32,000 profit minus what you're going to have to pay Uncle Sam. That is assuming you have $40,000 in rehab. Now, if you can save on renovation, then that'll help. As long as you're doing quality work, So don't try to cut corners on a renovation, because what'll happen is you may end up coming out less than the 165 that we estimated. Now, there's room for this property to sell for more because the comps show that. It's just that, in my opinion, because this is a bungalow style home, similar style, is not a two-story, I would stay between like this 165, 170, depending on finishes. If you're gonna replace all the windows, that's why I'm saying that $40,000 range there, give or take, depending on how you're gonna finish the property and do the renovation. Now, not a bad deal at all. The numbers make sense. For most people, not all, because 35,000 may not be worth several months of your time, and how much money you're putting up to get a return on investment for that. But it's not a bad deal. I like that the wholesaler did put some real good detailed photos. We'll still make an offer subject to inspection, because you have to see it for yourself in case there are some things that was left out. But there were enough photos to actually make a decision on a property and move forward, subject to inspection. Again, 165, you may end up getting more for the property, or a buyer may offer you 170 and ask for 5,000 in closing costs or concessions. But in this market, at 165 in that area, it's likely you may get bids. You may get a bidding war from buyers that will increase the price. Also, the other thing to keep in mind is that unfinished attic. Now, we talked about 40,000 as the acquisition, well, the renovation cost. Find out what it would cost to finish that attic, and if it was going to add some value based on the comps. I mean, these are all 3 bedrooms. Now, you do have some a little bit larger in square footage, but if we could get an extra bedroom, say for, under 6 or 7 grand, it may be worth it to finish that attic out here, that upstairs area, and have a 4th bedroom. So this is Reginald Perryman, Reggie's Real Estate. Just wanted to show you how I analyze properties when I get them from wholesalers. We look at all properties, so it's just that sometimes the information we get, somebody may send me a property like this and say, hey, this house is gonna sell for 225, 235, or this number here is 90,000 instead of 77, and the numbers just don't make sense. So we have to first analyze and verify. Those are the most important things you want to do when looking at properties that are submitted to you. Right now, here's the other thing that I want to point out. Property is currently rented at $800 a month. Tenants are expecting to move or would stay for a rent bump. So you can actually do some of your exterior work while the tenants are living there and collect some rent to cover some of your holding costs. Not a bad idea. It's just that since it's tenant occupied, you do have to bring it up to city code to comply with the rental registration requirements, but you're doing the work anyway. So again, this is Reginald Perryman, reggiusrealestate.com. Feel free to reach out to me if you have any questions, or if you have properties here in the Metro Detroit, Wayne, Oakland, and Macomb County that you would like me to analyze for you, just feel free to shoot me a message or email me, and we'll walk through it. The only thing is I want to do it live so we can show other people how to analyze properties. So again, this is Reginald Perryman, reggiusrealestate.com.